Welcome back to episode 4 of Riding in the Raw. Great show, great program, episode. I'm calling them episodes. That's what we're calling them. We're doing it. Great episode today. I have my little notes down here. I'm trying to be more organized, a little less me. More, it is me, but just more focused, right? Shout out to every teacher who's ever taught me anything. Benjamin, focus. Echoes of those teachers. Yes. Chapter 1. We're going to try to finish chapter 1 of the Fox Chronicles. We're going to go through that together. The second thing I want to do, I want to talk about dialogue, because dialogue is so good and important and wonderful. And 3, I've got a dialogue challenge for you and also for me, because a leader always goes first, right? You don't just be like, you go out there and fight. You go first. Why dialogue, right? We're talking a lot about AI and why to write in the age of AI. We're talking a lot about beginnings, openings in books. Well, since we went through a little bit of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer from Mark Twain, I started thinking about what made that opening so good, and it is the dialogue. It's this lady. It's the aunt talking to Tom, and this back and forth and this interplay that they have with each other. And dialogue is so powerful. I'm struggling to describe it in a different way than the meat and potatoes of many stories. It doesn't have to be that way. As with all things in the creative, you can find an example of a dialogue-less book, but dialogue is so good and rich and wonderful, and the vast majority of all books do have dialogue. I'm thinking about like fairy tales and stuff that are just like descriptions of the stories and going along. I can see that argument of like, no, I don't need dialogue. But if you're writing a novel, if you have characters that we really, really want to empathize and feel with and have this 3D reaction with, even if they're alone, you'll find them talking to themselves, which is part of number 2. What I'm going to talk about is someone actually in this book that I really like is alone for the majority of the book, and so they end up talking to themselves, and it's a great way to add dialogue into something where you're kind of in this vacuum, just your own voice echoing back at you. So let's start with chapter 1. We'll go into the Fox Chronicles. I do want to keep enabling us to use Notion. So here's our toggle. This is Fox on a dais. What is the point of this chapter? In every single chapter, I want to write that. What is the point of this chapter? There are authors that I know that have sticky notes that have that underneath their screen, right? Like, what is the point of this scene? What is the point of this character, this interaction, whatever? It keeps you on the rails. If that's too restrictive for you, don't worry about it. If you are using Notion, you're new to Notion, the backslash toggle is amazing. It just simplifies life. You can toggle lists, like you can have characters in this chapter, and you can do character A, character B, character C in this, and then to simplify it, just make it super small. And then here I have 3 chapters just right there in this little toggle, characters in this chapter. You want to delete things, you want to move them around, you can delete that, and it's done. Here's a great quote from this week. Anger is the passion that pulls us. This is me trying to interpersonally remind myself to be angry at the right things. In my own personality, a lot of my story is, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. And I was taught very, very strongly, for good and for bad. I think every strength has its weakness, which is why I love the thought of, so hard to say, superheroes done well, where it's not just all strength. Your weakness is tied up in your strength. It just inevitably is. One of my great strengths is comparative importance. So I can say, hey, this bad thing happened to me, but It's not as bad as, breaking both legs and crawling through snow, and like that's a bit of a hyperbole there, or a bit of an exaggeration of an example. But if something bad happens, like I get a flat tire or something, I'm like, okay, you've got a flat tire, you're in a first world country, you have AAA, it's fine. Instead of being like, this sucks. This is I didn't want to do this today. This was not something that I planned to do. Don't have time for this, and really dig into the feelings of what I actually feel. I just grab all those feelings that I'm actually feeling and push them down and say, you know what? You don't deserve to feel that way because other people have it worse, or something else could have happened. And I'm really, really good at that. And so there have been some things that have happened this last week, and I've been trying really hard not to, but it's okay. Those things in my own life. And this is a quote, anger is the passion that pulls us. And I think it's good for our characters to let the anger, use their anger as passion that pulls them towards something, through things. So I give that to you. Take it. Run with it. All right, we are working on H2. If you have a keen eye, you will have noticed that this changed from S to K. Why did that happen? I renamed one of my characters this week. I've been hanging out with them for 8 years, and I knew in the back of my mind that it was a bad name, but I didn't want to change it. And it took, the more I'm embracing this right in the raw, which again doesn't mean riding without pants. It could, but it doesn't. If that's your thing, go crazy. But what it means is just stinking right. And if it doesn't fit, stop trying to force it. Just remove it and try again. This name didn't fit. I had the main character named Seth. Here is Hannah and Seth, back and forth and back and forth. I liked the name Seth. Hannah can be Hannah. Ugh. It's stupid how I named Hannah. It was actually from the film Arrival. And I was working on the thing, and the fact that Hannah's a palindrome, right? The same back and forth. I was like, that's cool. And I put it in there. That's it. That's the whole reason. There was no childhood friend. There's no, I was tapped on the shoulder. I woke up in the middle of the night. Her name will be Hannah. Like none of that. It was just, it's cool. It's palindrome back and forth. I don't know. I thought it fit her. I don't know if she's a Hannah or not. Anyway, so the same thing with Seth. I really liked the name. I thought it was cool. I am friends with someone who's Seth, who's a phenomenal individual. I thought, yeah, why not pattern it? Some of his characteristics are patterned after that Seth, the real life Seth. It's not a good name for that character. For that particular character, it's not a good name. And I knew that, and I've known that for 8 years. So I finally bit the bullet and renamed him. I'm not going to open that toggle because that gets us into the desert, and that gets us into a serious story, and that gets us... And again, as I was trying to explain last week, Hannah is very lighthearted story-wise, the way that it's written. Lighthearted, fun, humorous, lot going on. Goodness. I was about to call him Seth again, but his name isn't Seth, and I'm not going to open the toggle. The other character, Kay, Hoya, I think his name is Hoya. It starts with a K, but it's Hoya. Wait, did I put this? Oh, wait, I have my notebook. Hold, please. Nope, not that notebook. I think I have all my names in here. Yes. The names of the hounds. So many hound names. What I did, since we're here, let's talk about naming. Oh man, we're almost halfway done with this episode. Let's talk about naming next time. That'll be something fun to get into because I adore names. I have names and names and names and names and names. Kel Hoya is his new name, which means little sparrow hawk in Hopi. There's a reason for that. There's a very important reason. Hoya means small, and I think he's going to be named, or he's going to be Kalhoya the whole time, because Kalhoya's arc is about being small and being used in a mighty way, being incapable and scared and the smallest one in the room, but showing up and good things happening through you. And so Kalhoya's story, it's important that his name means small. It's important for me to name him small. So we got a blast. We got 2 more things to do. We haven't even done chapter 1. We're back in the wall. I will tell you just right away, I'm not, after thinking about this week, I might make more changes, some bigger, crazier changes. But anyway, after the ooze was sufficiently removed from between her paw, at least until she could get back from the farm and back to the farm and heat a bath, Hannah adjusted her ancient satchel to rest on her stomach, the better to keep out of the reach of curious hands, and pushed her way back into the filthy street. The better to keep... I'm just going to say away, because that's the better to keep away from curious hands. Don't love this sentence. And pushed her way back into the filthy street. Fresh! An irate fox and yells. I don't care what he looks like, really. You can imagine what they look like. This is okay. A lot of authors do this. A lot of authors take painstaking time to tell you, like, and then they had the breast buttons, and one here and one there, and then above his belly button he wore a sash that was tied with. If it's not important to the plot, I don't care. Just tell me he looked like William Shakespeare with gleaming black brass buttons like that blinded you or something like that anytime the sun hinted off. Cool. Boom. I got it. Carry on. Tell me, like just stop with the Tolkien describing trees in the Two Towers for like flipping 9 or 10 pages. I was like, dude, they were green and old. I get it, bro. I've been to a forest. I got it. Carry on. That's a definite dig on Tolkien, but that doesn't mean I don't like Tolkien. He just really likes describing trees, and I'm just like, dude, don't do it, man. Spare me. Fresh! An irate fox yelled at an octopus merchant. What are you on about? Stop doing that. You're just shaking it. Stop that, or I'll report you to the guards. The merchant, a stout-looking fox in a grimy green-black coat, stared at the angry fox while the poor, delicious creature writhed in his hands. See, I did grimy green-black coat. Because it's grimy, he's wiping his hands on it. I want you to see that, right? Was that too much description after my harangue? That's hilarious. Possibly. The merchant, I forgot that I wrote that. That's hilarious. I should have read that and then harangued. Sorry, Tolkien, you were right. 10 pages is perfect. So many green trees. The merchant's calm look suggested that he had a sharpened fillet knife for every occasion, and was just mentally selecting the one he'd use on this irate would-be customer. The town square, or the Wheel, as it was called in Snowwall, was bursting with whatever the opposite of peace and goodwill toward all foxes would be. A vibrant cloud of selfishness and bad temper rolled through the crowd of foxes. The walls of Snowwall formed a perfect circle. The Wheel was at its dead center. The Wheel was what every fox called the town center. A beer said from the top of the wall, the town looked like a giant wheel, and the circular town center was the hub of the wheel. Hannah thought it was stupid that the town center wasn't named the hub, but as with most names, the bad ones just stuck. I like this sentence, bursting with whatever the opposite of peace and goodwill toward all foxes would be. This is repeating itself, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to move this down. Let's just grab this and move it to right there. So we start with, the wheel was what every fox called the town center. A beer said from the top of the walls, the town looked like a giant wheel, and the circular town center was at the hub of the wheel. Hannah thought it was stupid that the town center wasn't called the hub, but as with most names, the bad ones just stuck. The wall was bursting. I'm going to say the wheel. And we don't need quotation marks on this one, but we do need quotation marks on this one. Da da da. Stomach. Just as Georgia pushed her way back into the filthy street. I'm gonna cough. Okay, there we go. Let's see if this works. The wheel was bursting with whatever the opposite of peace and goodwill. All right, perfect. Okay, here's what I want. See, I was like, I know I have a reason for doing this. And so if you read this paragraph here, but Hannah wasn't asked about what the simple-minded foxes of Snowwall should name their stupid town center. She wasn't asked about a lot of things. If she was, she'd most definitely have chosen not to be working while there was fun to be had. That's not the right there. Benjamin, there, son. There was fun to be had, not be stuck living in her best friend's barn. Apostrophe on this. Love this sentence. This is why we're editing. And she certainly wouldn't have chosen. She wouldn't have chosen. She wouldn't have chosen being born to a worthless drunk of a father whose broken promises could fill wheelbarrows. Chosen. That's not a word. So I'm explaining Hannah a little bit, giving her backstory, giving her a little bit of depth. So what I needed to do, and I wanted to do that on the heels of the wheel. There we go. Okay, so this is perfect. The wheel, the bad one's just stuck, but Hannah wasn't asked about the name. And then we go here, the wheel was bursting with whatever the opposite of peace and goodwill. All right, perfect. So I've got all this, and I feel like that's flow is working a little bit better. Is goodwill one word? Yes, it is. I thought that was just the place where my son goes and plays with all the toys. He likes goodwill better because, and I quote, the toys in Target you cannot play with, but the ones in Goodwill are for playing. Kid's genius, as all kids are. All right. Okay, I just want 3 radishes, not the whole bleeding bunch. A vixen was almost at the edge of tears. It was always like this on the eve of Holy Day. The gods encouraged sacrifices, largely. I think I'm beating people over the head with this. I think I'm just repeating myself too much. No, I'm good. I'm leaving it. I might axe it later. I'm not sure. Whatever. I'll have someone let me know in the comments if this is too much. This sentence right here specifically, the wheel was bursting with whatever the opposite of peace and goodwill towards all foxes would be. A vibrant cloud of selfishness, a bad temper rolled through the crowd of foxes. All right, it was always like this on the eve of Holy Day. The gods encouraged sacrifices, large gifts to the towering temple that cut shadows into the mass of foxes below. And no work was to be done on Holy Day. Thus, the works week had to be squeezed into 6 days. It always felt like squeezing the last drops of water from the bottom of a flask. I'm going to use the word truncated, even though I don't like it. Truncated, even though I can't spell it. I know that's not right. Oh, I bet there's no K. Truncated? Yes, that looks right. Lowest prices in Snowwall, a portly fox in a dirty tunic yelled. Hannah assumed that somewhere at the base of a mass of bickering vixens were fresh turnips, days in's price. We don't need this. Get that out of here. Faster. Let's go. Stop. We get the scene. We can hear it. We can't smell it. We could add smells into this. We might need to add smells into this. That's okay. We're all right. Let's keep moving. A larger vixen holding a basket of turnips turned from a cellar and crashed into Hannah. Boop! There we go. Oof, Hannah said, tripping over some fox's paws and tumbling for the second time towards the grimy cobbles. Fortunately, her fall was padded by a smaller fox. Oof! Tink! The tink was a sound she hadn't expected. Hannah pulled herself off the stones, knowing that they were coated with spittle from spittle and other things. From 1,000 foxes, not to mention the other things they expelled from there. You broke it! The fox that had softened Hannah's fall kicked at her. Kicked her in the shin? Why not? Let's make it specific. Let's feel it. Kicked her shin. Shin. Kicked her shin. The kit couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 reigns old, and judging by the thick purple robe fastened to the fox's neck by a silver leaf chain, they hadn't been 7 or 8 reigns of starvation. Broke what? Hannah said, pushing to her feet. Wait, did she already push to her feet? Ooh. Pulled herself off the stones. Yeah, she's done. She's already up. Boop, boop. And I'm not going to go through here and like describe how she said it. Let's just assume you know how she said it. Instead of saying, broke what? Hannah said with incredulity and a slight tinge of curiosity. No, just broke what? It! The kit thrust a small white figurine into Hannah's muzzle. It was too close for Hannah to focus on. She pulled her head back in an attempt to see it clearly. It was an ornately carved statue of the goddess of Giza, the goddess of prosperity, uncoincidentally the town's favorite deity. I would say and, Benjamin, comma, and, uncoincidentally, the town's favorite deity. The statue's serene gaze and flowing robe were familiar to Hannah, but where the goddess was supposed to be holding out a set of scales to weigh the offerings she received, a sharp nub stuck out from her torso. Oh, Hannah said, 100 apologies, but I don't have time for this. Please stay. Hannah tried to push past the small fox. Hey! The kid grabbed Hannah by the strap of her satchel so hard that she almost fell backward. This cost 4 silver talents, you know. Silver. I can't say that. This costs 4 silver talents, you know. 4 silver talents? Hannah blurted out. Who'd be stupid enough to spend 3 reins coin on a trinket? By now, a few foxes were turning their ears to listen to the exchange. Hannah gulped. Right. The foxes of Snowwall never, ever pass up a free spectacle, and things probably weren't going to end well for Hannah. The guards had a pretty spotless record when it came to taking the side of wealthy foxes. What I mean is, Hannah changed her tone to one she thought was the perfect blend of soothing and confident. So here I do that, the way she changed her voice, and it could still be too much, but I think it's okay here because I want us to come down a little bit. We're having a dialogue, but this is a pretty clunky dialogue, but we're doing it. The young kit, still clinging to the satchel strap, looked up at Hannah like she was a street performer doing a poor job of juggling. Are you going to pay or what? The kit demanded. Of course I am, Hannah stalled, searching the crowd for an opening. There wasn't one. 4 silver talents was conclusively more money than her life was worth. The daughter of the town's drunk probably wasn't worth more than a few copper lepta. How could any fox be stupid enough to spend so much on something so fragile? Out of the corner of her eye, Hannah spotted another fox wearing a matching purple robe. That fox turned from a cellar and started scanning the crowd. Hannah's heart fluttered. Come on, Hannah, think. I propose a trade, she blurted out, not sure where that particular ship was going to dock. Here in this bag, she patted the worn satchel at her side, I have treasures. I don't think I want this at her side. Let's just boop that, because you don't need to imagine it. He's got the strap. The satchel could be out a little bit further from her body if we're imagining this happening in real life, which you absolutely should as an author. That is your job. If you cannot block a scene, what are you? Especially if you don't block your action scenes. Oh, and you don't give your reader a firm grasp of the wall is on the left, they're pinned down in a tunnel and someone's throwing up. Like, if you don't block things or describe your setting and we're going to get into that with, what's his name? Kahoya, who was recently Seth. We're going to get into that with Seth because Seth is a lot of action. He's training, he's fighting a lot. And so there's always got to be this sense of scene again and again and again. I propose a trade. Here in this bag, she patted the worn satchel. I have treasures. What kind of treasures? The kit looked skeptical, but his brown eyes fastened on the pouch. His grip loosened a little. This kit was originally girl kit, and then I changed it to boy kit. Don't ask. What kind of treasure? What kind of treasures? Hannah repeated, racking her brain, trying to remember what Ruta had put in her bag. Ginseng root? No. A handful of wart stools? No. What about... She undid the bone that served as a fastener and pulled open the leather flap. Do you know what this is? She fished out a small triangular crystal. It looked like what a kid would think a baby dragon's tooth would look like. Not sure I love that sentence. Whatever. Sure, it wasn't exactly hers, and she'd swiped it because it was pretty, but Ruta probably wouldn't mind as long as it saved her from... but Ruta probably wouldn't mind. Bum, bum, bum. As long as it saved her from a lengthy conversation with the guards or worse. I'm gonna delete this. There's music to this. Hold on. Wasn't exactly her, and she'd only swiped it because it was pretty. Now, there needs to be something else in this sentence, but I'm going to cheat and not finish this because it is leading to something, right? Sure, it wasn't exactly hers, and she only swiped it because it was pretty, and you're expecting a reason beyond this, and I'm going to just completely lazy write and just say click, and then the kit's going to interrupt because this is in the middle of the scene. I want this to keep going. What is it? The kit demanded. Great question. What is it? It's, she looked at the broken statue hanging at the kit's side, and it came to her like a bird song at twilight. It's a finger of the gods, she said, beaming visibly at her unexpected cleverness. A few eavesdropping foxes, unable to resist, turned to look at it. What's it do? The kid asked. He was nonplussed. Do I need he was nonplussed? I really need a comment on that. Comment on this one right here, please. What's it do? The kit was nonplussed. So we'll read it without. A few eavesdropping foxes, unable to resist, turned to look at it. What's it do? The kid asked. Do? Yeah, Hannah, what does it do? I'm going to delete it. If you really, really love it, tell me in the comments and say, nope, bring back nonplussed. Hashtag team nonplussed. Do? Hannah? Yeah, Hannah, what does it do? Hannah snuck another glance at the kit's mom. She was nearly on top of them now, pushing her way towards them with a look that suggested displeasure that her precious kit was having a lengthy and animated conversation with a stranger. If you hold it super tight and close your eyes, Hannah blundered on, it will make you fast. Stupid. Hannah checked the crowd for an opening again. Any sliver of white stone would do. She wouldn't let an overpriced statue send her to the collectors again. Thanks to her worthless father, they already knew her by name, and thieves got flogged, so there was always... Faster than a shooting star? The kid asked, dropping Hannah's satchel and eyeing the crystal like a piece of freshly grilled fish. Hannah's ears stood up. Way faster than a shooting star. She felt like someone had let the air back into the world. But, she added with a whisper and a lean, you can't tell anyone, otherwise it won't work. Okay? She winked. The kid nodded conspiratorially. This is a word directly from Terry Pratchett. He loves the word conspiratorially. I've taken to it, whatever. It's mine now. Hannah handed the gem over carefully, trying to make it appear more fragile than it really was. It wasn't entirely acting. It was precious. Okay, not precious, but some fox had traded it to Ruta for 3 potions and a jar full of milk thistle. She looked at the vixen in the purple robe. She was close enough for Hannah to smell rose petals wafting from her overly clean fur. That was as close as Hannah wanted to be to a wealthy fox whose son had just been cheated. Peace stay, Hannah said, and plunged into the crowd. Sweetie, who is that? The mom's voice had an edge to it. No one, the kid said. He hastily closed his hand over the sparkling stone and moved it behind his back. No one. Okay. Would you keep reading this story? I think we can put a hook here. I want a hook. You ever read those books and you can't put them down because at the end of every chapter there's a hook. I need a hook. I'm going to think about that for next. Oh, look at us. We're at 30 minutes and I've only done 0.1 and I've said I promise we'd do 2 more things. Okay, I am going to blunder on. So here we go. The Old Man and the Sea, Ernest Hemingway. I think it was his last book. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to talk about dialogue real quick and then I'm going to give you the challenge and then we got out of here. So let's do it. Old man, little boy. That's it. That's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get. Okay. They're in, I think they're in Cuba or I think they're in Cuba. So we're going to try to harness that accent like we did last week. So I don't care what you think about my accents. So there, this is Writing in the Raw. You're here for this. So yeah. You brought me a beer. the old man said. You are already a man. How old was I when you first took me in a boat? 5, and you were nearly killed when I brought the fish in too green, and you nearly tore the boat to pieces. Can you remember? I can remember the tail slapping, and the banging, and the thwart breaking, and the noise of the clubbing. I can remember you throwing me into the bow where the wet coiled lines were, and feeling the whole boat shiver, and the noise of you clubbing him, like chopping a tree down, and the sweet blood smell all over me. Can you really remember that, or did I just tell it to you? I remember everything from we first went together. The old man looked at him with his sunburned, confident, loving eyes. If you were my boy, I'd take you out and gamble, he said. But you are your father's, and your mother's, and you are in a lucky boat. May I get the sardines? I know where I can get 4 baits too. I have mine left from today. I put them in salt in the box. Let me get 4 fresh ones. 1, the old man said. His hope and his confidence had never gone, but now they were freshening as when the breeze rises. 2, the boy said. 2, the old man agreed. You didn't steal them? I would, the boy said, but I bought these. Thank you, the old man said. He was too simple to wonder when he had attained humility, but he knew he had attained it, and he knew it was not disgraceful, and it carried no loss of true pride. Absolutely phenomenal book. If you haven't read The Old Man in the Sea, it is it's online. You can grab it online, and if not, go to the library. Everyone will have it. It's phenomenal. Download it on Kindle. Okay, so your exercise for this week, and an exercise for me as well. Tab. Not new tab. Let's just go click here. And we're going to do new page. Actually, I think it's just Control N. Yep, new page. This is dialogue, practice. Okay, so you're just going to take 5 minutes, whatever you write. You're going to go person A and person B, and they're going to have a disagreement. So this could be person A could be the wife, and person B can be the husband. And it's, where were you? Every single response should be antagonistic. You don't agree. They cannot agree about anything. They have to grab each other's words and throw it back in their face. Right? Like, why would you even... Goodness, it's hard to type on the side. Here we go. Why would you even... I'm usually, if I type, I'm over here, so my whole body's... Okay, why would you even ask that? That you know where I was. I used to. Used to. A lot of things. So this is what we're doing. Just go. Sorry, I got caught up into that. They're having a disagreement. 2 people having a disagreement. 5 minutes. Don't ever agree in here. Where were you? Why would you even ask that? You know where I was. I used to. You used to do a lot of things you don't anymore. You didn't answer my question, didn't I? So we're like, I want to know where this goes. So that's your practice with the dialogue. Don't worry about anything. Do not give me descriptions of how they're saying their words. I just want words. If you're brave enough, post in the comments or a link to a Google Doc or whatever you've done. I'll try to go over this next time. I also said one more thing that I was going to do next time, and I can't remember. That's okay. Yeah. Anyway, until next time, put pants on, write in the raw, and just write. Just do something. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for showing up. Okay, bye.